Hello, the Bulgarian Cowboy fans. Alright, we're gonna go right now. We are going to see whether Khalil Rountree really, whether Khalil Rountree really won this fight or not. And honestly, I was thinking about this fight for a very, very long period of time. I rewatched it like 4 or 5 times, and every single time when I rewatch it, I see that the volume was therefore on the end of Dustin Jacoby. I also see that Dustin Jacoby was really doing a great job by teeing his opponent up on the feet. And now people are going to talk about damage and some other parameters, but I really don't think this was the way to go. I mean, excessive amount of damage. I simply disagree with that. Simply disagree with that parameter damage. 1 second. Hold on, I've got a call. 1 second, I've got a call just to reject the call. Okay, I rejected the call. Alright, so people are favoring damage all the way, and I have to say whatever. I mean, no matter how many times I was watching, Jacoby won every round so clearly. I definitely agree with you now. I definitely agree with you. So I was rewatching this fight 4 or 5 times, and Jacoby was having the advantage, and he was teeing his opponent up on the feet. So every single person who says that Round 3 won, I don't honestly know what the judges were watching. I don't know which match were they watching or were they high. I mean, I could have only given Round 3 to Round 3, and it was doubtful. I would give all 3 rounds. I would give all 3 rounds to Dustin Jacoby. But if I must pick 1 round for Round 3, and just saying 1 round for Round 3, it could have been Round 3. But it could have been Round 3, not because he did a great job, not because of that, but because he was landing stronger shots. But again, if you're going to follow the MMA rules, which you have, you can download MMA rules. The judges see a big black guy land 1 shot a minute and think he's winning. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what were they watching, because yes, stronger shots matter. I mean, according to the MMA rules. Now I'm going to paste the rules here. Unified MMA rules. So what were judges? Watching? These are unified MMA rules. No, I placed. I picked Round 3 to win, but it was a robbery. Now you have unified rules of MMA, and now I will try to elaborate what were judges looking at. Now, legal blows, effective striking, grappling. Legal blows that have immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute towards the end of the match with the immediate waning more heavily than the cumulative impact. Successful sorry. Successful execution of takedowns, submission attempts, reversals, and the achievement of advantageous points that produce immediate or cumulative impact with the potential to contribute to the end of the match with the immediate wane more heavily than the cumulative impact. Now, it shall be noted that a successful takedown is not merely a change in opposition, but the establishment of an attack from the use of the takedown. Top and bottom position fighters are assessed more on the impactful, effective result of their actions, more so than their position. This criterion will be the deciding factor in a high majority of decisions when scoring a round. Okay, I read this. Now, what am I going to say? If we prioritize this criteria, did Roundtree rock Jacoby on any occasion? I don't remember he did. I don't remember it was a heavy rock or a knockdown. It was 1-1 clearly on damage, and Roundtree ended up winning the third. I agree with Khalil Roundtree winning round 3. I absolutely agree with Khalil Roundtree winning round 3. But I disagree with Khalil Roundtree winning round 1 or round 2, because I gave those 2 rounds. I gave those 2 rounds to Dustin Jacoby. And yeah, Rountree made more damage in round 3. But if we're gonna take a look at total points, if we're gonna look the number of total significant strikes, then it's also a problem because you can only give 1 round to Rountree. He didn't score a significant knockdown. I haven't seen Jacoby like being brutally knocked down or being controlled, or I haven't seen much of backpedaling on the end of Dustin Jacoby. And unified rules, according to the unified rules, the fighter who pressures should get the round 2, and Rountree was backpedaling a lot in the first 2 rounds. In the third round he was attacking. I can't say for round 3. In round 3 he was attacking. He was more dangerous fighter, and he made more significant amount of damage. But even if round 3 goes to Dustin Jacoby, I wouldn't argue, because it was a close round to me, but could have gone to Khalil Rountree. I picked Rountree to win, so technically I was right about that fight. But I heavily disagree with judge's choice. That's what I heavily disagree. I heavily disagree because I didn't see Jacoby being brutally rocked. I haven't seen him being beaten, and he wasn't backpedaling in the first 2 rounds. So I don't know why they gave him that split decision. Because to me, it wasn't a close fight. If Font versus Vera was only 3 rounds and Font still outstruck him, who wins the decision? That's a hard question. I would have to watch that fight one more time. I would definitely have to watch it one more time. But Font versus Vera, I have to watch that fight one more time. Let me activate my fight pass. Please wait. I have to remember those rounds. Hold on. I'll activate my fight pass. Hold on. It's saying Vera Rountree put the damage, Jacoby Font ward the damage. When it comes to that fight is a highly controversial fight because Font ward the damage. You are right about that, and Font ended up bloody. Font ended up cut, etc. And Marlon Vera looked like a Wolverine, if you know what I mean. I understand what you're trying to ask me. And he looked... Font ward the damage. That's true. Rountree put the damage, Jacoby Font ward the damage. Well, maybe that was the criteria. There's no way Font wins 5 rounds. No way. Absolutely no way. Yeah, no way. That was another controversial call because Font was looking like he was coming out of the war, and we've seen Marlon Vera looking normal. I haven't seen any damage on the face of Marlon Vera. I have seen 0 damage on the face of Marlon Vera, and due to elbows, Font was looking like he has just returned from the war, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I know exactly what are you trying to ask, but I have no answer for that. That's a surprising call out. That's a surprising decision I've seen on that end. I was thinking that Vera won that fight fair and square, if you ask me about my opinion. And when I've seen Font's hand raised, I was surprised. I'm not saying that they should have raised Vera's hand 100%, but how in earth Font could have won that fight? I was just shocked. Same here. I was shocked when I've heard. I was 90%, 95% sure that Jacoby won the fight. It could have been 2-1 Font on decision. Could have been. Yeah, could have been. But when I've seen Font and his hand raised, I was also in shock. And also same thing with Jacoby versus Roundtree. If you watched my stream, I was thinking like I was saying that I was saying that Jacoby won 3 rounds or maybe 2, because I was having a big dilemma around round 3. But I'd give it to Khalil because of more damage. I'd probably give it to Khalil, but to me it looked like a brutal robbery. To me, like, kind of reminded me of Yan versus Somali, but Yan versus Somali is a bigger robbery. According to my mind, that's only according to my mind, according to how I feel, what I believe happened in those fights. But to me, Khalil versus Dustin Jacoby wasn't that much of a close fight. I was thinking it looked more fair and square on the end of Dustin Jacoby. But I think Vera dropping him necessary. Round 3 didn't drop him, sadly. That's exactly what am I talking about. Have you seen any knockdown in that match? Have you seen Dustin Jacoby fall into the canvas? No? I don't remember. And I watched that fight like 4 or 5 times. I don't remember that Khalil Rountree dropped him. Like, I don't remember a vicious knockdown. And I don't remember a brutal knockdown. That's something I can't remember at the moment, but maybe it's just my mistake. Maybe, there is a chance that I've overseen something, but I don't think that I'm overseeing this time. I do believe that this time I'm right. And for me, it's pretty much one example of terrible judging. To me, at least. But again, I'm not saying that mistakes don't happen. Round 3 for round 3. Yes, round 3 for round 3. Yes. Was it head clash or punch? As much as I remember, it looked to me like a head clash when I was rewatching. Yes, round 3 won third round, while Jacoby won round 1 and round 2. That's how I've seen that fight. According to the unified MMA rules, you have them in the description, so please, everybody can read the unified MMA rules, and you can see why this decision is so controversial. Yeah, round 3 didn't drop him, sadly. No, we haven't seen a vicious knockdown like... knockdown is when you hit the opponent and his knee touches the floor. That's according to the definition of a knockdown in boxing. I'm writing for a majority of blogs, so that's why I know that definition. But what is the problem with that? Well, I haven't seen Jacoby's knee touching the ground after round 3's hits. Round 3 hits very hard, but it seems Jacoby was very much prepared for that fight. He came into that fight prepared, and he was expecting big bombs on the end of round 3. And every single time round 3 was trying to bomb, he was moving to the left and right, and his level of experience played a great role in not getting knocked out in that fight. And hence I believed Khalil Rountree was gonna fish for a knockout. That didn't happen. My second prediction was no distance. I was expecting a vicious knockout either from Jacoby or Rountree, but that didn't happen because Jacoby entered pretty much prepared into that fight. I don't know what's worse, Rountree, that or Rountree win. Jacoby's last win was bullshit anyway. Early walk-off TKO. You are right about that. What's worse? I don't know what's worse, that or Rountree win. I call this karma. Karma won. Because Jacoby's last win was bullshit. And Rountree's win... I'm not going to say it's bullshit, like... I don't want it to sound that I'm criticizing a fighter, but early walk-off TKO, I definitely agree with that. It was an early walk-off TKO. I have to agree with that, man. That argument is 100% on point. Round 3 last 2 wins were legit as fuck. Well, that soccer kick was brutal. Rountree's last 2 wins, yes, and especially that soccer kick to the body was brutal. When he battered that guy like he owed him money. I remember that very well. It was a vicious stoppage. Vicious stoppage, and man, he battered that guy like he owed him money. Did I enjoy that fight? Absolutely, 100%, man. I enjoyed every single second of it. When we're talking about legit wins, you are right, Matt. This was pretty much a legit win on the end of Khalil Rountree. I don't know who he fights next. Well, I'm wondering. I'm wondering who could be next for him. That's a tough call out. That's a tough question. And 205 is pretty much stacked at the moment. I don't know who is free right now. That's a hard question. That is really much a hard question. I don't know what is UFC having on their minds. But one thing is certain, I don't think they are going to put Roundtree against a wrestler, because it would turn into a boring matchup, and they like stand-up wars. So I believe Roundtree is going to have some better status right now. I do believe he's gonna get some better status right now. I do believe they are gonna pair him with another striker. So that's what I believe is going to happen. Sadly, the crowd loves stand-up wars, and grappling is nice, BGG is nice, but crowd dictates, fans dictate. Like, majority of fans don't like boring wrestling matchups. Unless you really understand wrestling, you are probably not going to be interested into a great wrestling affair between two great wrestlers. And I assume Roundtree's next opponent is going to be predominantly a striker. But if you ask me, I would love to watch Roundtree against. I know it's non-realistic, but I would like to watch him against Jan Blaovic or that type of a fighter. Or maybe I'd like to watch him against Alexander Rakic, but that's not going to happen. Rakic is on a recovery right now, and I doubt they're going to let him fight Khalil Rountree. But yeah, Khalil Rountree for me, he is for me at least just a beast boy. He deserved the job. He deserves his job, and he's still training. He's still training every single day. He is very much dedicated, very, very much dedicated. I like his level of dedication, and I like him as a fighter. I definitely like him as a fighter. I bet Span wins round 1, Hayes versus round 3 soon. Well, Dominic Hayes. If we're talking about Dominic Reyes, that's a very much interesting fight to call. At least for me, it would have been a very much interesting fight that would have taken place into a very interesting place. So I'm all in when it comes to that. Yeah, put me on that bandwagon. I'm definitely all in. I would like to watch him against Dominic Reyes. Therefore, I would like to watch him. But this was a pretty much controversial topic, and I wanted to discuss it. But okay, that's Spain is plus 190. Are they crazy? Maybe they're high. I assume bookies are high. Why would he be plus 190? That makes no sense to me. Plus 190 pretty much makes no sense to me. Plus 120 would be fine. Reyes just died months ago. Maybe they are high. You never know. Maybe they are really high. There are many high people these days. You know that very well. Yet he died from a champ's hand. Well, Spence should be plus 120. It was a spinning back elbow, if I remember well. Yeah, it was a spinning back elbow, if I remember well. But that spinning back elbow pretty much landed clean. And he was pressed against the fence, so when you're pressed against the fence, there's no chance to defend that strike. You can only try to duck under or whatever, but Prohashka timed it perfectly. You know, that elbow was perfectly timed. I'm gonna stay here for like 9 minutes more, because I have some obligations later. And I need to get up early, I need to work tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got full hands of work. And we're already discussing that. I need to check something. Hold on, I need to check something. I need to check... I need to check my work for tomorrow. Yeah, he died from a champ's elbow, that's true. Let me check my work for tomorrow. Refresh, okay. Okay. They published this. That's it. This is interesting. Okay, I've got some full hands of work now. Done. I have tons of corrections tomorrow. Oof, man. Got so many corrections tomorrow to work. But okay. I'll grind it out. And tomorrow I will probably cover Ares when I come back from my training session. Just to announce that I will probably cover Ares when I come back from my training session. So to conclude this topic, I heavily disagree with the judges' scorecards, and I don't even see this as a close fight. I don't think it was a close fight. I actually think Khalil Rountree pretty much didn't win that fight. To summarize everything up, I don't believe he won that fight. We haven't seen much of head wobbles. I don't remember how many head wobbles was in that fight, or head rocks. Not many head rocks in that fight. And yeah, he made the damage, that's true, but it was insufficient. And when it comes to number of significant strikes, Jacoby outstruck him brutally. And I heavily disagree with that. So I think this was the wrong decision, but again, I wanted to discuss this topic. Thank you to everyone. Thanks everyone for stopping by, for listening to me, and see you all next time. I have some obligations, and tomorrow I must work. Got a lot of work tomorrow and a lot of edits. So catch you later.